Hello everyone, welcome to SFSR channel. In this video, we'll be going through how we can develop a SOAP integration with an external web service. For example, we are taking W3 Schools API. They have exposed a public SOAP API that we can consume. So these are the steps that we are going to go through. We are going to get this WSDL file from W3 Schools, and actually we need to go through a number of modifications to this file. So in a couple of previous videos we have explained how to what is meant by different sections in a WSDL file and how to modify a WSDL file so that it will be supported in Salesforce. So I will skip those two parts and link the video, and once the file is downloaded and modified, then we will generate an Apex class using that. Then we need to add a remote site setting like we do for a REST integration, and then we will write a couple of lines of code that in order to invoke this external website, and we will print the response that we are getting from W3 Schools API. Let's get started. So in case you are wondering where to find this API, you will be able to just Google W3 Schools temperature convert WSDL, and it will take you to a link where it will be listing the two different services that are exposed from this SOAP web service, and there will be a WSDL file also. So we need to make some modifications to this file before it will work in Salesforce. So we have made those modifications already, and one last modification that we have to make is we have to make this endpoint HTTPS in order for it to work. But I will give a link to the video where I explain what are these different sections in this WSDL file and what modifications are needed for it to work in Salesforce. But for the sake of our demo of integration, let's assume that you have made all those modifications and you have the WSDL ready to go. And once you have the WSDL modified and ready to go, it's relatively simple process. You need to go to Apex classes and generate a WSDL. Let me make sure I save this file. Okay, once it is saved, just parse this WSDL file. So here we need to give a name to the class that is generated out of this web service. So I am going to call it W3 School Service. Yeah, it has generated the classes. So it basically generates all the code in order behind the scene in order to make the necessary SOAP callout. So you can see that it is eventually making a callout to the endpoint, HTTPS, and this endpoint. This ASMX, it looks like it's a .NET web service from their side. So, but one thing that we have to do at our end is to make sure that we have whitelisted this domain. So I'm copying this and adding a remote site setting. It's already here, so we can skip this step. So the next step is to write a couple of lines of code in order to invoke this web service. What you need to do is initialize this wrapper class inside the class, inside the W3 School Service class, and then just invoke the method Fahrenheit to Celsius. And similarly, there is the another method for Celsius to Fahrenheit also. Let's test it out. So here I have written a couple of lines already. So here we are initializing the wrapper class from W3 School. So it's basically initializing an instance of this temperature convert SOAP class here, and I'm calling the instance temperature service, and then the temperature service dot Celsius to Fahrenheit. So 0 degrees Celsius is 100 Fahrenheit. So when we pass 0 into this, technically I think we should get a 32 in response. Let's see. So now if I select debug only, here you can see that it has converted it to 32 Fahrenheit. It's actually simple logic. We don't need a web service for this. You can write it in Apex also, but for the sake of integration demo, I'm demonstrating this. So similarly, I think we can test out the other method also, that is using Celsius to Fahrenheit. And here one thing to notice is like your passing temperature is string, so that's why I'm putting it in single quotes. So if I'm going to call Celsius, we need the other one, right? Fahrenheit to Celsius. Yeah, Fahrenheit to Celsius. So here if we pass a human body temperature, which is around I guess 98, it should return the corresponding same temperature in Celsius, so which is around 36-37 I guess. Yeah, here you can see that the temperature is converted to degree Celsius format. So that's the high level demo. Just to go through the details once again, we have downloaded a WSDL from W3 School website. We made some modifications that are explained in a different video. Then we generated classes out of it. These are called stub classes. And then we added a remote site setting to whitelist the calling out endpoint. And then we wrote a couple of lines of code to print the response that is coming from the API. So these are the high-level steps to create a SOAP callout from Salesforce to an external system. Another one thing to keep in mind is, so Salesforce is kind of abstracting us from the actual request creation and response parsing. So if you really want to see what is happening behind the scenes, this is what is happening when we make that API call. So Salesforce is sending a call out to W3 School endpoint, and it is creating a request in this format. So if you, and then we are getting the response in this format, and Salesforce is actually parsing the format and showing the response to us. So in case if you are wondering whether it is actually happening, actually if you remove this debug only line, usually Salesforce puts a debug of the request also. See, this is the request that is going out from Salesforce, so which is nothing but a SOAP envelope request. And then we have a separate we have the response coming back here. So this is where we are getting the response. But XMLs are really complex and it's really difficult to parse XML files in Apex. So Salesforce is taking care of all that behind the scenes, and all we need to write is just a couple of lines so that we'll get the response easily. So that's how we got the response here. Also constructing this SOAP request and response, sometimes we have to construct this request and response manually. So we will cover what is meant by each of these different sections in a SOAP request and response, and what is the significance of each section. And we will even go through a similar example of constructing these requests as a raw HTTP post request, and then how to parse the response out of it. We'll go through that in a future video. Thank you for watching the video. Hope you guys liked it. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel.